So now we step into the realm of sales freaks closing methods. Now there's so many different kinds of terminologies that we can use, and we all say we know how to close. It's an old adage, and I'm sure you do. I'm just here to try to get you better at it, whether it be online, offline, face-to-face, over the phone. I want to help you move forward. You see, Sales Freaks, we have several different call centers in which we sell multiple different kinds of products. And with those multiple kinds of products comes different types of closes. There's not one close in particular that can be just for one type of environment. You see, yes, you are what your environment is, although others are not. You see, we all come from different breeds, right? Different races, different parts of the country, whatever it may be, we have a different train of thought. Now, our thought patterns will dictate the way that we purchase. Take somebody from Italy. What are their concerns from somebody from America? Well, it's going to be two totally different perspectives. And we have to remember, if you're just selling to a certain subset and you're not selling worldwide, yes, then we have to focus on that subset that you're concentrating on. But if you're focused on a worldwide product, take the internet, for instance, worldwide sales, well then we have to have different geographic concerns with the way that we ask for the sale. You see, the way you may ask for it in one part of the world may be offensive in a different part. So let's go ahead, let's look at some different closing techniques here just over the phone. More importantly, we're looking at closes. We have emotions, we have logic, and then we have why not to buy, right? Now, emotions base everything upon, is this for me? Do I want this? And then a logic comes with, okay, is this logical for me to purchase at this point? Is it financially feasible for me? And is it the right and appropriate time for me to make that buying decision? You see, what are closes? To name just a few, what we're going to get into, we have an order blank close. We have a voided check, we have a manager underwriter close, we have the hold close, we have the Expedia Travelocity close, and then we have the folded paper close. Now we could go on and probably list 1,000 more. I just wanted to focus on these first, get you fluid with them, get the blood moving, and then in later programs we're going to the more expansive versions. Now, people, go with the flow when you have an order blank close. Now I want you to close your eyes just for a minute and think about something. When you fill out a job application, what do they ask for? Name, address, phone number, right? Email address, date of birth, whole 9 yards. Now, when we fill out any other form, whether it be for a courthouse or whether it be for a ticket, or we go online to purchase something on Amazon or eBay, or for your own business, apply for a business license and or personal license. Everybody's always asking you for a name, address, phone number, date of birth, on and on and on and on and on. Why? Because they need it, right? Okay. Now, think about this. If we're so used to doing something, it becomes what to us? It becomes innate. So when people start asking us, okay, what's your name? Okay, what's your address? All right, great, and a zip code? All right, here we go. Well, we start thinking about these things, and it's an order blank close. What they're doing is just going with the flow and asking us for certain points of information. Now, there's certain points of information. What are they doing for the individual? Well, they're narrowing it down to the ridiculous. Think about it when you order pizza. What do they ask you? Name, where's it going? Okay, credit card information, and you just become a robot. Bop, 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 bop. So now, when I teach my individual salespeople, closers, to go with the flow and use an order blank close, I tell them just to start at the main point and just flow through it. What is your name? Okay, excellent. And your address once again is? Okay, and the phone number? Okay, that's going to be best to reach you. Okay, phenomenal email address so we can send you a confirmation. Okay, excellent. I'm going to send you all the information right there. Okay, now, and your date of birth. Okay, and when you just keep going through a form and you don't stop and you don't give people reasons, people just offer up the information. I do it myself, and you do it too. We all do. Why? Because we go with the flow because we're used to it. And that's what I call the order blank close. So when you ask for the money, it just rolls off your tongue. So when you say, okay, your address? Okay, and the phone number, best to reach you. Excellent. Email address. Okay, now the best form of payment is going to be Visa or MasterCard. I'm sure you want to use Visa card, correct? And then you just flow right into it. Now, that's the same thing as a pizza delivery place would do. Think about a 14-year-old to 17-year-old individual, right, picking up the phone at the local pizza shop, and they're better closers than most people when they become adults. Think about that. Why is that? Because there's no fear. There's no fear, and it's an assumption, right? So this is like an assumption close, but the newer version. Now, we all assume people are just going to give it to us because they called up, they want a pizza, right? Well, we're pitching our product to them. We should assume that they want the product. So what do? Well, we just ask them for the money. Okay, great. Now the Visa card's going to be, starting with the 4. Tell me when you're ready. And just go into like nothing's wrong. It's no big deal. I do this every day. And if you do it, people are more willing to give up the information because they don't feel like you're trying to close them. They feel like they were closed, and this is just something that's normal to them. Now, avoided check close is something I came up with a while back doing commodities. Now, avoided check close, you got to remember that people do not like to give money, right? We don't walk around with our pockets out. We walk around with our hands in our pockets saying, don't take my money, right? So we need a softer way to ask for the check, softer way to ask for the credit card and or just payment information, right? Social, banking, credit cards. It's always tough to ask for these things, isn't it? So if the order blank closed, it doesn't work, and they stop you going, whoa, 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 what do you mean I have to pay for this? Okay, then we got to use our rebuttals and objection techniques, right? But right here, we have some power statements. Do me a favor, voided check, detail your financial records in the pay to column. Now let's go through this. What is a voided check? Well, a voided check is something that we don't feel we have to give somebody, right? A voided check is something we say, okay, if I write void on it and I give it to somebody, it's usually used for an ACH, for them to send me money, right? So again, we have these innate feelings and thoughts inside that it doesn't feel like we're giving something away. So I like to ask all of our clients, hey, can you do me a favor and go grab a voided check? I want to detail and highlight your financial records. I'll hold. Okay, excellent. Now, in the check, I want you to write in big, black, bold letters, V-O-I-D. That's going to say void, Mr. Jones. Now, the reason it says void, Mr. Jones, is because you're not exchanging money at this time. This is for your records and your records only. Now, Mr. Jones, in the pay to column, I want you to write down the name of the company. That's going to be, let's say, United Healthcare. United Healthcare is that company that's going to be backing you up for over $2 million worth of coverage. Now, in the dollar column, I want you to write down your monthly investment. Your monthly investment. That's only $193.41. Now that $193.41 is going to be covering you for that $2 million in return. Now, Mr. Jones, trust me when I say this. If you had to make an investment in the market of $193 for a return of $2 million with that company, United Healthcare, trust me when I say that would be a great choice. Am I right in saying that? Very sound investment. More importantly, in a memo section of the check, I want you to write down my name. My name is Michael Tobias. I will be the guy who's attached to your policy. I'm your personal liaison to the insurance industry. Consider me your interactive guide and brochure. More importantly, Mr. Jones, what I want you to do is flip the check right over and write down my 800 number. That's 866-555-5555. You can reach me at extension X. Now let me tell you this. No one's going to work harder for you, Mr. Jones. I work the hours of 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. Saturday from 10 to 6. Now, Mr. Jones, if you're unable to get me on the phone, I want you to remember you can speak to my valued customer service staff and or just wait and I'll get back to you immediately. I'm probably either on the other line and or on an appointment helping other individuals as I'm helping you. More importantly than that, Mr. Jones, flip the check right over underneath the memo section. I want you to read the first 9 digits from left to right. That would be what's called a routing number. Okay, and the next set of digits. Excellent. Now, Mr. Jones, the first month will be taken for financial consideration for the product that we have discussed. More importantly, the name, once again, is United Healthcare. I want to congratulate you on a wise decision. Then we move to our button up. You see, avoided check first. We're going to ask them to do us a favor. We're going to ask them for a voided check. Then we're going to ask them to write void on the check. Then in the pay to column, we're going to ask them to place the company that we are presenting them with, whether it be Ford Motor Company and or Chevy and or if it's a real estate, the real estate agency. Okay. Now in the pay to column, you write down the investment, how much the check will be. Always use investment. Do not say price. Do not say you have to pay. Don't ever say that. In the dollar column, I want you to write down your monthly investment. That'll be the amount that you get in return for X, whether it be the house, the car, this, that, and or the other. Now, memo section, always put the name so they remember who you are. Flip the check go right over because you want to get them working for you. As soon as you get somebody working for you, guess what you're going to be able to do? Close them. So as soon as you can close them, they're going to remember your name. They're going to be able to call you back. You're going to tell them how hard you're going to work for them. Flip the check over, and then you're going to let them flow, just like the order blank close, right into the numbers. More importantly, that's the order blank close mixed into the check close. Now, then we have a manager close, right? If you work for people, they will in turn work for you. Sincerely do this and let people know what you intend to accomplish for them. What I mean by that is this, right? Now, we can either ask a manager to get on the phone and or we can say we're going to speak to our manager, which 99% of the time we do. More importantly, we have to remember these things. Can I do something for you? My manager, no one has my resources or abilities, and then we come back on the phone with great news. Now, I'll give you an example. You can use an underwriter close for maybe a stock business, mortgage business, insurance business, P&C business, commodities business. Now, the way it would work is this. Hey, Mr. Jones, I got a quick favor to ask you. Do you mind if I put you on hold a second? Because no one has my resources and or abilities. The underwriters happen to work out of my office and they're just a few doors down. Do you mind if I go ask and talk to Leslie? She happens to be one of the top underwriters with the company. I'm good friends with her. She actually owes me a favor. Now, if I can ask her about your case and to get your application expedited through underwriting, I want to see if I could push that through for you. Would that be good? Would that make you happy? Okay. In turn, would you refer me a few people that can help as I'm trying to help you? Excellent. Let me go see if I can get this done based upon the information that we just went over. Is there anything that we left off of the application that you think could be pertinent to a decision? Okay, excellent. Let me go speak to Leslie. Please hold. I will put him on hold. I will go speak to the underwriter and or call the underwriter, right? See if I can get the case through, whether it be that mortgage, right? Whether it be the stocks, see if we can, get the amount of money approved by the firm, right? And or if it's insurance, I'll call the underwriter and say, hey, medical questions XYZ. This is what this individual has. Do you think we get them approved? Oh, we can? Excellent. Submit the application. More importantly, Mrs. Jones, got some phenomenal news for you. Actually spoke with Leslie, the underwriter, and she told me that if we get your application in today, before she leaves, she will take personal attention to the matter and make sure that everything gets pushed through to the best of her abilities. Now, if we get this done now, Mrs. Jones, I can't guarantee you approval, but based upon everything that you said, I can pre-authorize it. More importantly, let me ask you, then go through the application. Always use somebody with a higher standard than you, somebody that's going to be important to the decision-making process. You have to take that decision out of a client's hands and put it inside your hands, because every story, right, is always going to end with a decision, but every picture is going to tell the story. Let's think about this. If we put the customer on hold, walk over to an office, we're working for them. They feel we're working for them. which we are and which is the true case. We come back on phone and we say that we have phenomenal, unbelievable news. I have great news for you if you don't like using those words. You're in sales, get used to them though. Then tell them that no one has your resources or abilities. And since your favor is getting squashed with this, they have to do you a favor and refer you a couple of people in return. More importantly, we need to get this done now. Let's try to get her before she leaves or he leaves, however you want to put it. The same thing can be done with your manager. Instead of saying underwriter, say manager. More importantly, that's the manager, underwriter, close. Now, picture this. We have a full conversation. This big. Then it gets cut in half. Then it's going to get cut in half again. Then it's going to get cut half again. Then again. So we have a full butterfly. All the way down. Cut. There's an eighth of it left at the end, if we're lucky. I have what's called a folded paper close. Now, a folded paper close works pretty simply. What I want you to do as you're watching the video is take out a blank piece of paper. I want you to draw a big circle on that paper. Now I want you to fold that paper opposite so you can still see half of that circle. Now hold the paper out. What do you have? 50% of what we discussed. That's this. This is our conversation. Cut in half. Because that's how much you're going to remember, Mr. Jones, when we hang up the phone today. Now, Mr. Jones, I want you to fold that piece of paper in half once again. Now, Mr. Jones, that's how much of the conversation you're going to remember 2 hours from now. So, Mr. Jones, right now we're at a quarter of what we just discussed about 2 hours from now. I want you to take that piece of paper and fold it in half again. Now, Mr. Jones, now we're at an eighth of what we just discussed. That's how much you're going to remember tonight before you go to bed. Hopefully my name's in there, Mr. Jones. Hopefully my number's in there. But you know what's not in there? The meat and potatoes. See, Mr. Jones, when you go to bed, I want you to take that piece of paper, I want you to fold it in half again. Then I want you to take it and fold it in half again. You see, Mr. Jones, tomorrow morning, that's how much of the conversation that you're going to remember. The few words printed on here. How much of the circle do you see? Do you see any of the circle, or do you just see a short little line? You see, Mr. Jones, what we just discussed is not going to be fully represented by your memory. The best time to make a decision is when the facts are fresh in your mind. Wouldn't you agree? That's the folded paper close. Now, alternative choice, yes, I know we all know this one. This one is the easiest close in the world. We have been through it 1,000 times. So have I. I heard it from Zig Ziglar's, Brian Tracy's. I heard it from every sales trainer I've ever had. But you know what? If it's still good, use it. We all know it. You either want choice one or do you want choice two. But more advanced techniques of alternative of choice is different because not enough people really know how to use it. You're not using your tie downs. You're not making it effective for yourself. Now, let me ask you a question. Would you rather have more sales ability or less sales ability? Think about that. Which one would you rather have? If you said less sales ability, you probably shouldn't be watching the series. You probably said more, right? Of course, come on, let's not be corny here. But if you wanted more sales ability, isn't that an alternative of choice? You're giving people a reason of why not to say no. Stop saying, do you want the blue or do you want the red? Do you want the red or do you want the green? Give me a break. Come on, okay? Color of preference, all that stuff should have been narrowed down already. And if you only have two choices to narrow things down, the people probably aren't coming to you. So what's the correct way to use alternative of choice? Think about it. What if you're selling a big technology system? What if you're selling this huge network? And this network is worth millions of dollars. Now, with this network, let's say we had 2 user codes. Okay, well, what does that mean? It means either it could be in C++ right? Or let's use this for some commonalities, Linux and Unix. Now Linux is Windows-based Unix, a little more user-friendly. Unix, you need a programmer, alternative of choice. Mrs. Jones, would you rather have your system developed in Linux, which is more user-friendly to you and all of your co-workers / employees, or would you rather use Unix, in which you're going to have to hire a programmer just to manage your database and decipher all the information? That's ultimately going to be up to you. My choice would be more cost prohibitive, which would be choice 1. Now I'm sure you're just like me, that we're both concerned about usability and about cost. Am I right in saying that? Of course. More importantly, that's the way we have to use alternative of choice. Don't just say, do you want this one or do you want this one? Explain why. You have to explain why, but don't just explain why, give them a reason. Here's why I would buy this, here's why you should buy that. And if you don't explain why, you're shooting yourself in the foot. More importantly, let's take it over for an insurance sale. Mrs. Jones, now I need you to understand something. There's going to be different plans at different prices. The one that's going to best fit your needs is going to be the one that I pick or you pick, or that we meet in the middle. What I mean by that is this. We have a $5,000 deductible and we have a $2,500 deductible. My preference for all of my elite clientele, they usually go with a $2,500 deductible with an accidental rider built in. This way we can wipe away all their out-of-pocket. God forbid if an accident does happen and they wind up going to the doctor and or the hospital. You see, Mrs. Jones, with a $5,000 deductible, can we get an accidental rider? Absolutely. But if an accident doesn't happen, you're out $5,000. Now that's a lot of money to come out of pocket for a product that's supposed to protect it. Am I right in saying that? So which one do you think is going to be better? The $2,500 or the $5,000? Explain things that you want in a way that's going to get people to understand where you're coming from. That's going to get them to go, well, I wouldn't want that if you just told me that. I wouldn't want that if you tell me I have to pay $5,000. I'd rather have this one, $2,500 with that $2,500 accident. Remember that. That's how you can upsell a premium, and that's how you can downgrade a lower premium. Mrs. Jones, a lot of other individuals, uneducated agents, they will represent choice 2. They're going to want to put you in that because they're trying to slam you into a product to make a quick commission. They're doing a price war with you. But that price war is going to end up murdering your pocketbook because, yes, it looks good now, but it won't look good later. Mrs. Jones, the whole reason you purchase health insurance is to protect you. And if you purchase this one, the only thing it's protecting is your eyes, and you're going to need glasses later. Go with this. I can protect your out-of-pocket in and out and now. More importantly, that's the way to go. So that's the correct way of using alternative choice. Think of a few ways inside your business that you can use alternative choice. On websites, think of it. What can you do on a website? You want A or do you want B? Put the most expensive vitamin compared to the cheapest vitamin. But then list why so many people buy this one compared to this one. Well, why do people buy the most expensive ones? Well, they're probably more potent, right? Then put it below it. More potent, right? Lower potency. And put it right next to each other. Say, well, that one's $5 more and it's more potent than that one. Now, I'd rather pay $5 more for the one that's over here. Always use that alternative choice to your advantage. Now, closing by new websites. I love this. Orbitz, Travelocity, Hotels.com, Kayak. Now, what do? If you ever went on vacation, you're probably just like myself, and we went to one of these websites and we were trying to find either a hotel, right? And or trying to find airlines and or rent-a-cars, anything that we can for what? Cheap, the lowest price. Now, we don't want to stay in a lowest price hotel. We want the hotel that we want for the lowest price. We want a 5-star hotel for a Motel 8 price. How do we do that? Well, we go to all these choices. We go to our travel sites, Expedia, Hotels.com, Travelocity, Orbitz. They all use the same system, right? They're all travel sites. Kayak can all sit here right in the middle and they shop all of them, right? and they try to find the best rate at the best date and range and everything else to your specifications. Why can't we use that in all sales? Why can't we just tell people, consider me the Travelocity of health insurance. Consider me the Travelocity of commodities. Consider me the Orbitz of real estate, Mrs. Jones. I've done all the shopping for you. I've narrowed it down to a few quick choices. You see, either we're going to stay in this hotel or we're going to stay in this one for the same price. See, here's what it's about, Mrs. Jones. It's narrowing it down to the ridiculous. Your preference is going to matter in the end. Which one do you prefer? Do you prefer A or do you prefer B? Because now I just took you through Travelocity and I shopped all the different carriers for you, and I found the one that's going to best fit your needs and your budget. You see, Mrs. Jones, that's what I do for you. I take the guesswork out of shopping the market for you. More importantly, what about commodities? Hey, Mr. Jones, I just want to let you know, I took your information, I just put it into my patent pending system. And what I'm coming back with is a few different options. Now, I'm sure you both want to do the research, but let my computer and my software do the research for you. You see, what I'm coming back with is new corn. The corn right now, the options, they are undervalued. And I think you can stand to make a killing here. You see, if my computer's telling me to do it, it's usually pretty accurate in my opinion. More importantly, and then you move on, right? But as soon as we tell people, hey, I'm like the Travelocity, travel all the way to the Travelocity for health insurance. I do what Travelocity does to travel for health insurance. Mr. Jones, don't take my job away from me. Let me do the shopping for you. That's how you use the Travelocity Orbitz close. More importantly, their closing process. We have to explain, we have to support, we have to make sense, and we need proof, and we need to ask. How do we do these things, right? Well, how do we explain, how do we support, how do we make sense, how do we show proof and ask? The ability is all in you. I'm going to go over all these closes more in detail. I just wanted to give you a brief overview of how they work, and then we're going to get more specific into your industry, whether it be on the web or whether it be on the phone sale or face-to-face.